My Hero Academia is a phenomenal anime series, and we're here to walk you back through every need-to-know moment from Season 1 to Season 3. And before we get started, be sure to follow and like Funimation everywhere for more anime videos like this. Whether you're just hopping on the bandwagon or need a refresher before you binge the newest season, this is everything you need to know in 10 minutes or less. The series introduces us to a near-future world where 80% of the population has developed abilities called quirks, which means 20% of the people are born completely normal. And in this society of heroes, normal totally sucks. That's where Izuku Midoriya, also known as Deku, comes in. He's wanted to be a hero all his life, but he doesn't have a quirk, and everyone laughs at him for it, especially this guy, Bakugo. In an amazing twist of fate, Deku's life is saved by the #1 hero, All Might. But what should have been an uplifting encounter proves that All Might isn't all that he seems to be, and even he doesn't believe in Deku. But All Might changes his mind when Deku jumps into the fray to save Bakugo when no one else would. With that show of bravery, All Might decides to pass on his quirk, which is totally not a normal thing, even for quirk users to do. And that secret is one of the biggest driving forces in the series. All Might helps Deku go from fluff to buff in a training montage that ends with a mouthful of hair and a ridiculously brutal entrance exam to the UA high school. And he gets in, along with a bunch of other hero hopefuls, and they're put to the test straight away by their teachers. Everyone gets a cool costume made by professional designers, except Deku, who loves his mom. The students show off their quirks in an over-the-top lesson that ends with Deku teaching Bakugo a thing or two. Class 1A picks a president and a VP. As you can expect, it's Ida and Momo. Then the season wraps up with a training exercise at the USJ where they're attacked by a group that calls themselves the League of Villains. Their leader is Shigaraki, a guy with a pretty scary quirk and a simple goal: kill All Might. The whole class uses their quirks to fend off the villains until All Might arrives and smashes the heck out of a Nomu. He manages to save the day, and thankfully, no one gets seriously hurt. Losing his grip on the situation, Shigaraki retreats to his hideout, but a mysterious voice encourages him to keep trying, which is not as wholesome as it sounds. Everyone's a little shaken up after the USJ incident, but that won't stop UA from hosting its world-renowned sports festival, which is pretty much the new Olympics. Big shots in the hero industry are watching for the next up-and-coming student to sponsor or turn into a sidekick, which means the competition is fierce. Round 1 is an obstacle course, and all of Class 1A makes it through. Up next is the Cavalry Battle, which puts everyone's teamwork to the test, and Team Todoroki, hey, comes out on top. Then the one-on-one battles begin, and this is where the arc gets crazy. Students from other classes show Class 1A what's up. Kirishima meets his twin, Mei Hatsume shows off her hero support items, and Shinzo does some interesting mind control stuff. All the while, Todoroki is working through an identity crisis, and we catch a glimpse of his childhood, which is nothing short of tragic, and it's all thanks to his father, Endeavor. Quirk marriage is a thing, y'all. By the end of it, Bakugo respects Ochako. Todoroki lets out some very justified teen angst, and Deku does some permanent damage to his hands. Bakugo is reluctantly crowned the winner, and everyone has the warm fuzzies. Except for Ida, who has just found out that his big brother's never going to walk again. The hero killer Stain is making headlines and hunting down heroes like Ingenium one by one, and Ida's not going to stand for it. Part 2 starts with the students picking hero names and choosing their internships. While everyone goes to different agencies, Deku goes to work with Gran Torino, All Might's former teacher and greatest source of anxiety. This old dude packs a mighty kick, and thanks to his roundabout training, Deku learns how to use a non-rotational microwave. He also develops a new move called Full Cowling, where he uses one for all at a constant all throughout his body, making him way stronger than ever before. On the way to do hero work, Nomu swarm Hosu City, the place where Stain was last seen and where Ida is doing his internship. During all the chaos, Ida goes on his own to square off with Stain in an alleyway, hoping to avenge his brother. Ida's nearly killed before Deku finds him and sends an SOS to the rest of the class. Luckily, Todoroki comes to the rescue, and with their powers combined, they take down Stain. But before anyone can celebrate, a Nomu swoops in. Stain saves Deku and gives a convincing monologue about his ideals and why he wants to kill fake heroes. After that, the boys get their wrists slapped for kicking butt without a proper license. Meanwhile, Suyu is a baller and the other internships are going well. Then it's back to school where the students show their progress. All Might takes a minute to explain the origin of All for One, and the season ends with final exams. Everyone pairs up to try to take down their teachers, showing off more of their quirks. We also dive deeper into the internal progress and witness Principal Nezu's ferociousness. Oh yeah, and Bakugo and Deku learn to use teamwork. Kind of. Finally, Shigaraki has some visitors and decides to meet Deku at a shopping mall where things get out of hand. Nah, I'm using it out of hand. Before season 3 starts, the events of the movie My Hero Academia 2 Heroes take place on an island where a world-famous hero convention is held. All Might's early days in the United States are shown. Deku meets a quirkless girl named Melissa. All Might is restrained, Deku reads his mind poorly, and together with a few others from Class 1A, they save the world. Then it's on to the training camp arc, where Class 1A and Class 1B get sent out into the middle of the forest to practice using their quirks. Their hosts are a pro-hero group, the Wild Wild Pussycats, who run the students through the ringer. Deku meets a kid who hates heroes, while the League of Villains arrives on the scene. To everyone's surprise, running around the forest at night is not a safe thing to do, and the students are ambushed by the Vanguard Action Squad. Deku finds Koda, the kid we mentioned earlier, and goes 1,000,000% to protect him from Muscular. The rest of the students do all they can to survive. After one final mad dash to take the villains down, Bakugo is kidnapped. In the aftermath, Ragdoll is missing and dozens of students have been injured, which leads to some major backlash from the public. A group of teachers hold a meeting and determine there's a traitor at UA. The police search for Bakugo while Class 1A visits Deku in the hospital. They argue over whether they should go save Bakugo or leave it to the pro-heroes. Deku and a group from the class decide to break the rules, and they follow Yaoyorozu's tracking device to a warehouse where no more are being produced, picking up some clever disguises along the way. At the League of Villains hideout, Shigaraki tries to convince Bakugo to join his side, but Bakugo isn't having it. And neither is Aizawa. Later, All Might leads the raid on the hideout. They almost rescue Bakugo until All for One steps in, transporting Bakugo and the League to a warehouse where he just wiped out a team of pros and where Deku's group is still hiding. All Might shows up seconds later and the most epic fight of the series begins. Deku does his thing and comes up with a clever way to get Bakugo out of there. They leave All Might to fight his greatest nemesis in a spectacular battle that drains every last ounce of One for All from his body and reveals his true form to the entire world. All for One is defeated and taken away, and All Might passes on the torch. Following this, Aizawa and All Might go around for some intense parent-teacher meetings. UA ups security and builds dorms on campus. Once everyone's settled in, training for the provisional license exams begins. Everyone stockpiles on new gear, new moves, including Deku, who remembers he has legs. The exam itself involves crazy competition against other schools that hate UA. Of course, the League of Villains can't stay out of it, and Himiko stirs up some trouble. Making matters worse, Todoroki loses his temper and Bakugo is just Bakugo. But everyone else from Class 1A manages to pass. Elsewhere, the League of Villains reunites after All Might's retirement, though their members aren't the only ones making a move. Over at a maximum security prison, All Might has a little chat with All for One before returning to UA and witnessing Deku and Bakugo punch through their feelings. After a completely thrilling fight, Bakugo learns the secret of One for All. Then to wrap it all up, Season 3 ends with the Big Three. They're the top students in UA High School's hero course, and they show Class 1A just how much room they've got to grow. And that's about all we can cram into this video. Like and subscribe to Funimation everywhere if you want more anime videos like this. See you next time.